Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday. I am so excited today. We are going to be talking about some insights that I have picked up from the past, I want to say it's been about a month and a half of filming these amazing Loudoun 100 honorees. Okay, so before we start talking about Loudoun 100 honorees and these amazing 3 pieces of advice or tips or insights that I've learned, I want to just really quickly tell you what is Loudoun 100 because I've been seeing some new faces around here on Facebook, Instagram, all the places. And so just really quickly, Loudoun 100 is essentially a passion project that was born prior to 2017 because 2017 was our first Loudoun 100, original OGs, woo woo, you know who you are. So really what Loudoun 100 is I have seen that there's so many amazing people that are behind the scenes doing these great things for our community. And they weren't doing it because they were looking for the accolades or they weren't doing it because they were looking to grow their business. They were doing it because it was just the right thing to do. And so I said, okay, I really, really want this to be the thing. I want this to be the trend of what we are celebrating and honoring. And so Loudoun 100 was born. Essentially, the community nominates hundreds of people that they think are deserving of this. I don't know if it's an award, but really it's an honor, right? They're saying these are 100 people, more than 100. There's like hundreds of people that get nominated, and then a committee comes together, and then they end up selecting the final 100 people. And over time, those 100 people come in to Alimond studio, and there is a film piece where I ask them these questions, and I really want to dig into essentially why they are the way that they are, because they are cut from a special cloth. And I really want to dive in and figure out the why, as well as a photo shoot here at the studio. And it's a real fun time. So we are having our next event 2021 this year, and I have been filming. I haven't even gotten through half. We still have a lot of people that we're filming, but I wanted to share some insights as to what I have learned so far and share them with you. So if you're watching live with me, say hello. Would love to see your face. I can't see your face. We'd love to see your fire emojis, Raymond. Thank you. But let's go ahead and dig right in. And also, by the way, if you know of any business owners in the area, be sure to tag them in this video or share this video with them. I want to really get the platform of Loudoun 100 out there, as well as Alimond Studio for people that are business owners, because we help business owners in our area. Okay, so moving on here. You guys ready to dig into this and discover the 3 pieces of insight? Now, some of these are kind of controversial, at least for me, because some of the things people said, and here's the thing, these interviews, these conversations, I don't judge at all, right? I'm essentially the journalist, listening, asking the questions, and taking it in here, documenting it for everybody else. Because at the event, that's where it all comes out. But we'll get to that stuff later. But a lot of these people said things that I didn't necessarily agree with right away, which is the most amazing piece of all of this, is it really challenged me to dig deeper and to really find out why I felt the way that I felt. So that's going to be coming up actually in this first insight and tip. All right, so the first piece that I really heard from a lot of people here and there is this idea of giving without expecting the attention. And you might say, of course, Leah, that's the whole premise of Loudoun 100 is people that aren't looking for the limelight. Yes, but here's my defense, first of all. A lot of times at Alimond Studio, anytime we do any type of event that the money is going to a nonprofit, I always find that that's super duper important to put that out there and to spread that message. A couple of reasons. Number one, because it gets people excited to want to take part in that thing, whether it's a special photo shoot, raising money for laws, giving back to our local Loudoun hunger relief. No matter what the nonprofit is, I always like to tie it in because I want people to become aware of the nonprofit organization. This is me defending myself. And this is where I was starting to realize, like, why was I, when I started kind of questioning myself, like, well, why is it that you do that? And so these are the reasons why. And because it allows other people not to just discover the nonprofit, but to say, ooh, I want to do that too. And then other business owners are like, ooh, that was so cool, Leah. That felt really good. I want to do this on my own. I want to do this for my company. I want to bring this to my corporation. And so they do. I've heard plenty of stories where people that have participated in our events will then take that and do something themselves. So that's kind of my defense. But then it really made me dig deeper to say, okay, but how many times have you, Aaliyah, given personally to a nonprofit, not necessarily associated with the business, and just done it to do it, not sharing it with anybody or not putting it out there? And so that's where in my head I was like, that's a good point, because I heard this brought up by a handful of different Loudoun100 honorees. A lot of them were like behind nonprofits, and how they were talking about how it's a different type of giving when you were giving, not looking to share it with the world, not looking for people to say, good job, what a wonderful human you are for giving to this nonprofit, but really just giving it to give it. No expectations, not looking even for a thank you, but really just giving. And so that was a huge aha moment for me personally, and insight of all of these things as well. They're attached to your brand, right? A lot of people that want to be seen as a caring, giving, philanthropic type of person, you want to associate that to your brand, because it's not just the give back piece, but because you want that other people to take part in it as well. And I get that and I understand that, because that's how I felt as well. But I think there is also a piece of me that really kind of got into the, well, what are you doing? What are you giving back when nobody is looking? And so that was huge, and I wanted to share that with you because, number one, I would love your thoughts. And number two, I would love for you to kind of self-reflect on that as well. Okay? So that was, let's move my hair away from my mic here. That was insight number one. Okay, you guys ready for number two? It all matters. Okay, so there were so many stories, and yes, guys, I'm a crier. It's bad. It's a good thing though, when I'm filming, I'm kind of in the dark a little bit, like the lights are on them, I'm a little bit in the dark. I've got my mask on. Nobody can see like the little tears. But some of the things though, like some of the stories that were shared went on to show all of the things matter, the details matter. You're going to be able to learn more about these people. But there was one specific story that really stood out to me in terms of the way he documented his life, about the way that he practiced, the way that he was raised, the way that he was taught on what's right and what's wrong. Those little things that are so easy to dismiss and so easy to say, oh, you know what, that's not a big deal. Nobody's going to see this. Those are just the details. Details, no, it's not going to matter as long as the big picture looks good. What came across in this specific guy's story, but a lot of stories, is they got to where they are today, whether it's their mindset, whether it's where they're at, physically or even geographically, because people cared enough to put the effort into those details. And it reminded me, when it comes to, my insights from these conversations, is that people do notice. People, the small things that you do, people can feel that. I mean, outside of Loudoun100, even when people come in to Alimond studio and they see their name on the marquee, or when we open the door as our clients are leaving, we'll offer to take, bags or whatever they have with them out to their car. You can just see that stuff matters to people because it makes them feel special. And so that's just like a small little detail there, but like I said, the details matter in everything you do, whether it's in your career, at your job, whether it is with your friends, when you say you're going to call, are you calling? Are you checking in on them? Are you showing up? Whether it's for your children, your child, your husband, your spouse, your wife, whoever, all those little details, they totally matter. And it became so evident as I was listening to these stories from the Loudoun 100 honorees about how those small details completely would change these people's lives. And I just thought that was so, it was so refreshing to hear. All right, you ready for number 3? A lot of the things that happened to, or for rather, not 2 people, but 4 people, was all because of somebody else's kindness. And that's what they attribute it to. I think the bigger lesson in that is that they weren't saying, well, you know, I'm where I'm at because of my hard work and because of my hustle and because I was such an amazing person and I took these opportunities and I turned it into gold. A lot of people attributed, if not 100%, but most of their success, and I'm not talking about financial success, I'm talking about just success in life, to be in the place that they are, was because of somebody else's kindness and grace and compassion. And to them, because somebody else showed them that type of grace or showed them compassion in a time that maybe they didn't feel they deserved it, or in a time that nobody else was showing it to them, it stayed with them their entire life. And now they are dedicated to passing that back on into their community, onto others. One person specifically said, it'd be great for me to just sit here, I'm paraphrasing obviously, it'd be great for me to sit here and say, it's because, you know, it's because it's the right thing to do. He was like, but honestly, I'm doing it because it makes me feel good. He's like, I'm doing all of this because it makes me feel good, because somebody else did that for me, and now I want to be able to pass that back on. And when I do it, it's not out of obligation, but because it just feels good as a human to be able to know that I'm really giving back and I'm contributing back to my community. And I swear I'm back there. If I'm not crying, I'm getting goosebumps, not because it's cold, even though it is a little chilly in here, but because it's amazing to be around these people who are not necessarily dedicating their lives to serving others, but just are naturally serving other people, right? Like, it's not necessarily they're going out of their way to serve Loudoun County, but it's naturally what they're doing because they've embedded that into their lifestyle. It's just a part of who they are. Okay, so, yes, Lisa. Let's go ahead. I created a bonus slide for you. You ready? Let's talk about 3 different ways I want to challenge you in today's Facebook Live. I would love to challenge you to do something to pay it forward. Because something that I often hear is people will say, well, I want to do some type of act of kindness. What is it that I can do? Give me an idea. And I think that's a lot of the reason why either we don't do something or we procrastinate in doing something, is because we just don't know what should we do. So I'm going to give you 3 different ways that you can actually pay it forward, with number 3 being maybe the hardest one to do. Number 1, words of encouragement. I am learning how impactful words of encouragement truly are for other people. When in fact it might be easier to criticize or to disagree with somebody, what can you say that might actually encourage them? Or not necessarily encouraging the idea or the thought, but just encourage them as a human. A lot of times the conversations that people are having on the outside, there's a different conversation going on inside of their head. So what types of words of encouragement? It could just be a perfect stranger on the street that you're not having a conversation with. It could be somebody that you're standing behind in the grocery line, or it could be somebody that walked into your place of business that you've never met before, or it could be a coworker, or it could be your spouse, or it could be your child. What types of words of encouragement can you say to them today? Make it simple. Keep it simple. It could just be a compliment, a sincere compliment. It could simply be something that they have done in the past for you that maybe you've just forgot to thank them for it. Do that today. Simple, easy. You could even just pick up your phone, find somebody that you haven't touched base with, and reach out to them with some words of encouragement. Number 2 is give something away. It could be anything, with absolutely not looking for any type of acknowledgement. Okay, so like it could be paying for somebody's lunch or dinner. Could be as simple as that. It could be a donation to a nonprofit without putting your name on there. It could be contributing to somebody's fundraiser that is raising money without you putting your name on there, and see how that feels to give without that acknowledgement. Because remember, this is all stuff for you, right? Because those little things matter. It's not doing something so that somebody else sees you, but it's a practice for you to get into if you want to, so that you are giving without that attention. All right, and then number 3, this is something that, I don't know, this is probably going to be the hardest one for a lot of people, I think. I want you to find somebody that you do not agree with, and I want you to offer them or invite them to go out for coffee with you or to hop on the phone with you. Be best if you can do it in person. There is something about looking at somebody in the eyeballs and having a conversation with them. I think that this could go a really, really long way, these little small steps that we are taking to learn more about the people that we don't agree with. I think there's a lot of disagreements going on out there, and if you can look at somebody in the eyes and have that same conversation with them, I think the conversation would go in a different direction. And getting into the habit of having conversations, face-to-face conversations. Or it might even be weird, but doing like a Zoom conversation. I think it's a lot better than doing it through the screen. So that third one, if you do that, will you personally message me and let me know how it went? Because I think that would be awesome if you would do that. And I think it would be an awesome practice for you as well on our way to, especially Loudoun. We are such an amazing county. I think that if anybody can start doing this, it's going to be Loudoun County residents, is having those conversations with people. And I don't care what the topic is. It could be anything, right? It could be a conversation with your husband because you don't agree on whether or not you should send the kids to school or whether they should stay home for distance learning. Whatever it is, get into the practice of having those conversations with people that you don't necessarily 100% agree with. All right, friends, that is all I have today. Let me know if there is any of these 3 pay it forwards that you end up doing. I would love to find out how it went. Even though I said without any acknowledgement, just tell me. I won't tell anybody, I promise. Just tell me, because I want to know how you felt during it, right? I'm doing my own little research here. I hope you have an amazing week. If there is anything I can do for you. Oh, actually, wait, let me pause that really quickly and let me invite you really quickly here. Wait, let's see. I would love for you to know that if you're interested in going to our Loudoun100 event, we are actually, tickets are on sale right now. They're in pre-sale right now. We do have our location. We've got our date, September 23rd. Mark that down. If you go to Loudoun100.com, Loudoun100.com, you can actually start purchasing tickets. So I would recommend, if you want to be there at that event, go and get your ticket, because they will end up being sold out. I know they will. They have been for the past 2 times we've done it. They always end up selling out, especially this year with us having to cap the number. It is going to be outdoors though, which is awesome. I would recommend for you to go and get your ticket if you want to be a part of this amazingness. So anyways, Loudoun100.com if you want to be there at the event. Otherwise, I'm sure you're going to be hearing more about it. And go ahead and wrap this up. I hope you have a beautiful day, beautiful week, and I will see you next week. Take care.